What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Yee Yee podcast. My name is Parker Smith. I'm CEO of Yee Yee Apparel, joined by Brian.
Hey, guys.
And Ben.
What's going on?
Brian is director of Yee Yee Media.
That's right.
Ben runs our influencer program, a little all over the place with our marketing. What do you do, Ben?
I'd say all things marketing.
You got on the new Yee Yee athlete shirt over there.
I do.
Yeah.
Show the folks.
I saw you went to work yesterday. I saw on our little on our Shopify account that we use on our website. It shows how many shipments that we've sent out, and it said that we had like 165 packages sent out yesterday that you sent out to every single one of our athletes. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, over 160 packages yesterday alone, and I'm not a shipper, so that was a big moment for me.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm sure that took a while.
Yeah.
Are we still accepting more athletes?
Yes, we are.
Nice.
For a lot of you wondering where in the world is Hayden Adcock, host of the podcast. A few people asked that last time. Hayden is no longer with Yee. No, I'm just kidding. He is in Mexico right now. He ran away, and he is in Cabo, which is America's favorite place to go in Mexico. I've never been to Cabo.
Me either, but it looked pretty.
I have been there for one day. It was a cruise stop, but I went to a Senor Frogs and got back on the boat. That was about it. That was my Cabo experience.
Cruise stops are they just don't even count as anything. You just end up at like a Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville or what's the other one? I guess Senor Frogs is the main one. And you're like, I'm a world traveler, but you really just went into a Mexican
You get the
place.
Ron John Surf Shop sticker with whatever town you're in. And yeah, it's really not much of a destination.
Yeah. I think he's living his best life, though.
No Wi-Fi there, though.
Apparently not.
Yeah, apparently he could not jump on the podcast today because he didn't have good Wi-Fi. But he did send out an email to all of Yee Nation about the NASCAR launch. So,
yeah, he's working. He should be back next week, though.
Yeah,
fingers crossed.
If his Wi-Fi is working. Cabo is one of those places I feel like. Have you been, Ben? Oh, yeah. You just said that. So it's one of those places that you don't really go on the beach. It's just kind of like the ocean's just there in the background. That's always kind of weirded me out. It's like you can't really get in the water, but you're at the beach.
Well, I did get on a boat also. It was Senor Frogs and then like a little boat around like the little, I don't know if it's a harbor or bay there, but it's at the end of the Baja Peninsula for Mexico. So it's that really long, skinny piece of land, the far west. So you can see where the Pacific Ocean meets. I don't know what the body of water is there, but there's like iconic like archway that you can see there. That's just a rock formation.
That's where Hayden was yesterday.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, I saw a photo of him
Nice.
there.
Wow. There you go. Well, we are gearing up for Bristol day by day and the fall launch, which falls on the same day, which is terrifying to me. And I was pretty stressed about it yesterday, I'm not going to lie. But we're going to make it work. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, our driver, our beloved Brandon Jones, is racing the Yee Yee car, and we just take ownership of his car year-round, even though we only had him for 2 races.
What you have on your shirt right there.
I do. Yes, we just had our NASCAR Yee Yee collection drop, which is super exciting. And we were just talking about how NASCAR is finally back after it took like a 3-week break, and we were all bored and we didn't know what to do with ourselves on Saturdays. Brandon's got that iconic yellow car, which is nice. What'd you say it was going to be? It's like yellow and blue.
Yeah.
I guess he switches off.
Well, it'll be this past weekend. He had his bright yellow Menards car, and then it had a blue hood. Forget what the sponsor was for the hood, but it's always nice, the bright yellow car, because it's so easy to find him when you're watching it on TV.
Yeah, I hate whenever he's not in the yellow car. I think it was 2 weeks ago or something. He was in the white, just Toyota car, and it just didn't feel right.
Just blended in.
So either yellow or camo.
Do you have an opinion on the road races versus like the super speedways in terms of watching it? So basically, for those watching, if you're not familiar with NASCAR, like usually you'll see like the iconic. There's like 3 types of tracks, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like a super speedway, which is the really long oval, typically with the curved side so that they can turn easier. And then there's what they call a short track, which is just small oval, which is basically you're just kind of always turning. It's like borderline circle, lots of braking. And then you have the road course, which is like IndyCar, which is just like all over the place.
Yeah. I don't know if there's something in between short tracks and the super speedways technically, because you look at something like Texas Motor Speedway. I don't think it's considered like a super speedway, but it's a pretty big track. Like it's almost a minute long for a lap or something like that. So it's not like a 15-second lap like Bristol or anything like that. Or I don't know if that's the best.
I think
see.
I'm definitely short tracks.
Yeah.
I think that just more happens, and it's just exciting to watch.
And especially if you're inside the track at a short track, you can see the cars all the way around with that big angled wall, and you can just like watch the cars from a single point on the inside of the track is so cool versus a road course. Like we were in, when we had the Yee car in Austin, we were in the pit and then you guys were in the stands, which is probably better because in the pit, it's like they just pass by once every 3 minutes because it takes 3 minutes to get around and you don't see them again. But I guess it helps if you have screens.
Yeah, that's kind of how it was in the stands. Like the best part of the race was when they were passing by right in front of us. So I think with the short track, you just see them all the way around. Definitely is better.
Yeah.
From an in-person viewing experience.
Yeah. We were talking about how Bristol is just in the middle of nowhere. I didn't realize it was like so far east Tennessee, like in the boonies, like literally in the Smoky Mountains out there, which is what makes it so awesome and iconic. Granger was telling me that Bristol is like unlike any track that he's ever been to because you're just like in the middle of like the woods and like just in the middle of the backwoods, and then you just like walk up on this like valley and there's just this massive stadium that holds like 160,000 people or whatever it is. And I was like, man, these people must just come out of the woodwork for this, like, because there's no big city around.
Man, yeah. I'm excited for it.
It's going to be insane. I think it's like, if it's not the loudest, it's one of the loudest tracks. So I'm going to have to like invest in some good hearing protection or something, especially being like on the middle there.
Yesterday I was like, man, should I stay? Because we can't risk, because Granger's going to be on tour. He's playing a show the Thursday night, September 16th, and then we have the Bristol race September 17th, and Granger's going to be there, and he's going to do a meet and greet and like autographs with Brandon and that sort of thing. And we'll all be there, so y'all should come and say hi. But that morning is like going to be the biggest launch of our company's history. Is September 17th at 10 a.m. will be the fall launch, which we've been working on stuff for like upwards of 15 months now for this launch. And so that's going to be, I have to be like around Wi-Fi and like fixing all the problems, and we're going to be remote. So we're not even going to be here at the Yee Yee Farm to be able to figure it all out. So, but it's going to be good. We just have to do more preparation beforehand to be able to put out fires that come about on launch day, and it'll be good.
We're going to need to invest in some like wireless hotspots or something like that, just as a backup plan, just to make sure everything goes smoothly.
Yeah, I think we're going to fly into Knoxville, rent a car, drive 2 hours to Bristol, and we'll probably vlog it and put it on the Smiths. If y'all don't, if you're not subscribed to the Smiths YouTube channel, you should go check it out. That is Granger and Amber Smith's vlog, and then we also do stuff from the Yee Yee Farm on there, and I think that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. All the behind the scenes from Bristol.
Yeah,
it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I'm sure Granger will do a ton of content. We're gonna try to get you to sneak your nice camera in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
NASCAR has a lot of red tape as far as filming and everything goes. So
yes.
Hopefully they're not listening to this, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we need to have Brandon on the podcast either before. I don't know if it'd be better to have him on before or after the race, or maybe just both.
Or both.
I think both.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. So speaking of the fall launch, I know we got a lot of good feedback. I was surprised. I thought I was going to bore everybody with what goes behind the scenes with creating the products. And when we had Richard from River City on, who makes all the Yee gear, most of the Yee gear, and we thought it would be cool to kind of give you guys behind the scenes of what goes on the planning of these launches. I don't know if that's interesting to you. I'm going to make an Office reference because Hayden's not here and he won't yell at me.
Let's hear it.
But it's like when Jim is explaining in one of the first episodes of The Office what he does. He's like, I look at paper stock and quantities and I sell it to suppliers. And then he's like, I'm boring myself even talking about this.
We're going to have to make a TikTok of that moment, because our last TikTok was Hayden talking about how liking The Office isn't a personality trait.
Yeah. I was outnumbered that day. Matt and Hayden both do not like The Office. It makes them visibly angry. Yes. So basically what happens with these launches is, before you guys came on board, Ben and Brian, it was just me and Tyler. Tyler used to do all of the orders of the gear, and we would just kind of order it whenever and just kind of have it in stock and then take it out on the road to shows. And then I came on board and then kind of decided to adopt this idea of like doing seasonal collections, because when you brand it seasonally, it just seems to do better and just like be, I don't know, it just like kind of gives it its own niche to like sit in, instead of just having something that's available year round.
When did we do our first launch? With the seasonal.
I want to say
type.
It was I did them a little bit like summer or spring of like 2018 or 19, but the big one that we did where we really hyped it up to a certain day and a specific time down to the second was the first ever Yee Yee Day, which was,
I guess
2020,
yeah.
19.
I think it was 2020.
2020.
I don't remember. Gosh,
Because that was still before me and Ben's time.
Yeah, and that was just crazy. Like it was really cool to see the number of people on the website, and people seem to really respond to limited quantities and just making it fun for everybody, and do a countdown and just make it interesting. And so we were like, okay, I think we should start doing this with all of our launches. And so now basically what I'll do is I'll look, it kind of depends on the product. Some products take upwards of like 15 months to create, kind of like I said earlier. But so for example, for stuff that we use Richard on, who was on the podcast 2 weeks ago, his products are typically like a 5-week turnaround time. And for t-shirts like that, I'll try to, we'll meet and say, like, for instance, I'll say, for this fall launch, for example, I think we met in May, right before this, a little bit before the summer launch, to go over the design concepts. So probably a month or two before that was when I was like brainstorming concepts for like what was going to go on the shirts and what was going to go on the hats and what patterns we wanted to use. And I have like a few different graphic designers that I'll just like send ideas to, and then they'll give me feedback and they'll create something, and then we'll tweak it, and then I'll decide if I want it to go on a shirt or a hat, or kind of how that's going to go. So that's just kind of an ongoing process where I keep all of those designs like in a big melting pot. On my computer, I have an Excel doc. I'll try to sum this up because I feel like I am a little bit boring myself, so I'll try to keep it interesting. I'm so sorry if this is not interesting to you. But I have an Excel doc on my computer with each seasonal launch up until right now. It's on there through fall of 2022. And I will just put initial ideas that I have as they come, and then reach out to graphic designers and then get those logos. And then anyway, if it's a product that is takes a long time to develop, like for instance, we have flannels, and then we have 2 different jackets that are releasing that are what we call cut and sew, that are completely constructed from scratch. And so for an example like that, I wrote down like a few notes of like the general time frame of what happens. So for example, for like this soft shell jacket that we're releasing that has like a conceal carry holster on both inside flaps, that initial concept, I believe, was like June of 2020 when I came up with that initial idea. So I will hire a graphic designer who specializes in apparel creation. And so that first step will be, hey, I have an idea for a soft shell jacket, and I want people to be able to carry a firearm on the inside flap. And then she'll say, cool. And then so she is a professional who creates products from scratch. So she will construct the the piece of apparel from scratch, write out all the specs of the measurements and what she thinks it needs to be, and all the stuff that's above my head of like hems and like the waist size and all that good stuff. And then I'll send that initial idea, and then she'll come up with like the projected material that it's going to use, the way the branding is going to be like adhered to the product, the way that they're going to construct the holster and that sort of thing. And then go ahead.
So all of that started in June of 2020.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. And to me, like, whenever I first came on, it was crazy to see that how much time went into these products, and that it wasn't just you had an idea and placed an order, and then it was ready to go for the launch.
Yeah.
Just I guess from the outside looking in, there's so much more of a process to it.
Especially for specialty products like that. It takes a lot of time, and like thankfully, like for like the shirt that I'm wearing or that Ben's wearing, that's a much different process. But for like some of the specialty stuff that y'all see, as we want to be seen as one of the top apparel brands in the world, we don't just want to be an artist apparel company. We want it to be like, we want to go up against Columbia, North Face, and Carhartt. Like that's the goal. Like that's the standard that we set ourselves to. And then when you're at that level, you're going up against teams with dozens and dozens and hundreds of employees. So it just takes time. It takes a lot of attention to detail. So basically we'll go through, we'll construct it. Then I'll then send that to my manufacturer and be like, hey, this is my initial idea. Can we do this? They will then contact their different factories that they have who specialize in different types of products. Certain factories in certain countries specialize in heavy jackets or polyester based clothes, etc. And then once they confirm that it's doable with the factory, then I will hire a separate graphic designer who specializes in what they call tech packs, which is creating like a visual layout for the factory to be able to see these are the specific Pantone colors or the specific color that it's going to go in. This is the pattern that is going to be on it. This is the size and branding of the Yee Yee or what's going to be on it. These are what the barcodes are going to be on it, etc. And then I will then go through the very first sample process with the manufacturer, as they'll send the what they call like the pre-production sample of materials to see like this is what the outside material is going to be, and they'll send like a little sample of it. So like for the soft shell jacket that you all see, it's like everything from the outside material to the inside was hand selected for that jacket. They'll send examples of the zippers and stuff. And then, I'll just, I'll run through this. Were you going to say something, Brian?
Yeah, so I was just going to say, like, from the outside looking in on quantities and why we do a launch, that stuff is going to sell out. Can you kind of explain, like, the reasoning behind that and, like, the space? And if we have a item not do well, like, it's hurting us sitting on the shelf as we're preparing for the next launch, I guess.
Yeah. So we buy as much as we can afford because we're working with pretty large manufacturers now, and we buy as much as we can based on the cash that we have as a company. And then obviously you want to be able to sell when you're ordering it so far in advance. It's really tough because you're losing that money depending on your payment terms with your vendor. It's just a give and take. And so I order based on what I think people will buy and hopefully sell out within like a month of launch or a month and a half of launch, something like that. Sometimes it sells out in 2 minutes. But in June of 2020, when I had to order this stuff, I'm estimating what in fall of 2021 the demand is going to be in our growth as a company. And I usually guess on the lower end just in case. And so when you're doing that, when I've already ordered all of our winter stuff for next January is already ordered. Like that's already, and then we're almost done finalizing like the swimwear for spring of 2022 right now. So it's ordering hopefully enough that everybody who wants it can get it, but also trying to play it safe as a company to where we're being smart and mitigating risk.
And just space wise too, right now that we have, I guess, in the warehouse. And
yeah, we just spent a lot of money to create the overstock area back behind the property that you guys may have seen on the Smiths YouTube channel, where we enclosed the walls on both sides, and then Caleb's just done an awesome job. We got a forklift to be able to handle all the new inventory and that sort of thing. And then just some of our packaging that's just so awesome, but just takes up space and it's just costly. We do like custom boxes for every single launch that's like themed. So like this fall is like an awesome orange and green. It's like a landscape of like an elk and a hunter and a dog, and he's got like a gun, like walking through the woods, and there's like some birds flying above him. It's really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for the new boxes. The summer ones were cool with the American flag.
Yeah.
And these fall ones look really good too.
I like this thing we got going where it's kind of like a new theme based on every launch kind of. So
yeah,
we were right before 4th of July, so we had those America boxes, and now it's just very fall related.
Yeah, I just think it just makes it interesting.
Yeah. And people comment on it too.
Yeah.
Like it definitely makes a difference.
Yeah. It's just, I've always just like not wanted to take ourselves too seriously, and just I don't know, just like I think that a lot of people think that it doesn't matter, and they'll just send it in like a regular USPS box, and like, it doesn't matter to a certain extent. But
there's something about pulling up to your house and seeing packages on the front door, and you can just tell like which one is the EU package. I think is cool.
Yeah. We try to, I just always try to think in terms of the customer and like what would be interesting, and like it's like you spend your hard-earned money and you work really hard, and so when you buy something from us, like I want to make it an experience that you wouldn't get anywhere else, because there's a million brands out there, and we're lucky to have your business.
So with these launches, how far ahead are we planning right now?
I have like concepts for fall of 2022 like in mind, but that's like as far, like I don't have anything like concrete.
15 months from now, 14 months from now.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Like I have to start thinking, because it's just, it sounds crazy, but I just learned the hard way. Like these factories are just like well, I'm already behind for next spring. They're like, we have to get these orders into the swim stuff like in soon.
Wow.
And it's mostly because of just the state of the world right now too, is everybody in apparel or manufacturing or really anything that you're sending from overseas right now. If any of you work with really, I feel like tons of different industries are getting affected right now with COVID and with what's going on with the supply chains. We still have like 10,000 American flag bags out somewhere in the Pacific Ocean right now that are just not, they were supposed to be here last May.
Yeah.
And
Stuck
they're
on
just
a
not
boat.
here. Yeah. They're just stuck on a boat somewhere.
Wow.
So with all this like planning in advance, do you ever have like, oh, I really want this to be on this specific launch, rather than pushing it off to like next fall or something like that?
Yeah, fall is the best time to do high priced. Fall is always the most fun for me because I can order more, because we have more like a safe buffer between September and Christmas to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Versus in January, if I order too many jackets, then we're screwed, and
For the whole year, yeah.
You're gonna have a lot of money sitting on the shelves and that people are not buying, and you have to discount it and then end up losing money. So fall is the most fun time for me, because, and I'm so bummed still because, man, these women's beanies have probably been 2.5 years, like no joke, of
Wow.
trying to get these stinking premium women's beanies in. And they're not going to make it for the fall launch, which is super sad. And we also had an awesome custom camo hoodie that I've been working on for a year that's not going to be in time, but it's good. It'll be good because we'll have some stuff to fill in like October, like after the launch, and like kind of around November as like Christmas is coming around. We'll have some cool new products. But I'm telling y'all, these women's palm beanies are so awesome. It has like a removable palm. It's like,
I've never seen that.
It's on par with like some of the like best beanie brands in the world.
Yeah, that's
it's gonna be
exciting.
cool. Yeah.
And so talking about things coming on time, that's what kind of makes filming and photographing this content for these launches difficult for us. And we try to get stuff in as soon as possible, but like you said, with manufacturers and stuff, that leaves us a good 3 to 4 weeks before a launch to shoot all the promos, turn around, edit for to run as ads and stuff for the launch. And so that's kind of what a lot of my job is entailed with each of these launches.
Yeah, you had to pull a couple all-nighters for the summer launch, didn't you?
There was a few, but with my industry, there's a lot that happens a lot and stuff, and so I've gotten pretty used to it, and it gets exciting, just kind of racing against the clock kind of thing. So I enjoy it for sure.
Yeah, y'all just live off that high of it's almost like a college like final that you're
Yes.
trying to stay for at the last minute,
Yes.
and it sucks, but it's also like kind of just like, yeah, let's just grind it out. Let's do it, baby.
Yeah.
I even know for me, like, there was one, like, and this is nowhere near the capacity of what Brian was doing, because a lot of my stuff was actually like 2 or 3 weeks prior to the launch where I was involved. Whether that was getting like packages sent out to our, we're calling it marketing reps because we just don't like influencers, but the term influencer. But just getting them out gear early so they can then help us market it just to as many people as possible. But I even had a little bit of what my job is for the launches is making just interesting like memes and videos and stuff like that. And I had put in like a request basically to have a video that I could create. But I had to use like a different app basically and request it through them. And they didn't fill out the request until like the night before. So I was even kind of like grinding a bit. Again, nowhere near what Brian was doing, but like I was making literally like a meme out of like a SpongeBob video like 30 minutes before the launch so we could like drop it right when the launch happened.
And that stuff is still so important. Like every person's job is like so valuable here. Even if it's easy to look down on like creating memes or content like that, but at the end of the day, like that's the voice of our brand. That's what like represents us. And so yeah, you've done a great job of getting that out to the influencers. I know with our NASCAR release, that was it was super cool to see everybody posting about it and everything. We are going to go to break, and then we're going to come back and finish up the kind of talk on the prep for the launches and do power rankings. What's up, guys? Thanks for listening to the Yee Yee podcast. This podcast is brought to you by the fall launch, which is coming September 17th. And it's the biggest launch that we've ever had. We're going to have a ton of products, so get ready for that. Buy some tickets to Bristol because that's where we're going to be on the day of the fall launch. We have the Yee Yee car racing in a camouflage car. It's going to be the biggest day of our company's career. So buy some tickets to Bristol. If you can't, no problem. September 17th, fall launch. Keep it in mind. Or don't. That's okay too. We still love you. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Where were we? We were talking about, I'm going to finish up the kind of like the very back end of the launch stuff, and then we're going to jump into our power rankings for the week. So once we get those pre-production samples in, we'll confirm the material, the branding. We'll get like the very first run of like what the construction is going to be, and then we will send them any adjustments that we have, like for the flannel that we got. We wanted to lengthen it. We wanted to make it a little bit wider. We felt like it was a little too tight, a little too tailored, and we lengthened the sleeves a little bit. So like stuff like that. And then we'll do one more, the final pre-production sample to confirm before ordering it. Then we will order it, and then typically it's like 2 months to get here from ordering, and then ideally it gets here about a month and a half before the launch so that Brian and Ben can do their magic and we can come up with clever ways to market said product, because it's just such a game of you got to be able to finish the job, because it's like you can't have an amazing product and then not market it right. You can't have an amazing marketing team without a quality product that people are going to talk about. I once heard someone say that, like, what's the definition of remarkable? It's like, we're trying to have a remarkable product. It's like something that is worth remarking about, like worth talking about, worth telling somebody about. So we're very fortunate to have Ben and Bryden and Hayden and have a team that can then market the products that we make and make it look pretty on camera, because at the end of the day, you guys you don't have it in front of you. We don't have a store. You have to trust it's a lot of trust. You have to take our word for it. Like, our soft shell jacket's going to be $130. Like, it takes a lot of trust to put that kind of money into something that you can't see, touch, or feel. But that's why we offer free returns and exchanges, because we know that, and it's a pain in the butt when people make you pay for returns and that sort of thing. So we just try to make it as easy as possible and try to be as transparent as possible and show the quality of it, and sell a genuine blue collar American lifestyle that we believe in, based on Mike Tyson over here, based on faith, family, and the outdoors. So that's kind of and then we'll kind of optimize that content for either Instagram or Facebook or TikTok and that sort of thing.
MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace, Tumblr. What was the conservative one that lasted like a month? That was sad. That didn't last.
Twitter?
Everybody was all on board. No. Comment below if you know what I'm talking about. We can't remember the name of it.
I know what you're talking about. I
Yeah.
just don't know the name.
Yeah. Do you remember?
Didn't it start with a P or something like that?
Yeah.
Parlor.
Parlor.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's still. No, they took it off the App Store, actually.
That's right.
Man, have y'all
Interesting.
seen what Instagram's been doing lately with, it's literally like you can't take this action to people and they just can't post?
Yep.
I got that on one of our pages the other day, and then I updated my app, and then 30 minutes later, it was just fine.
That's so weird.
Sad.
I did post during it, though. So it said, like, it was very general, and I screenshotted the notification, but it was just like, oh, yeah, this action is not available at that time. I pressed OK, and then I was able to post anyway. I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's so weird. I get the censoring and stuff, like, for kids. You know, there's so much stuff on the internet,
Yeah.
and now every kid has a device. But it's just like, now that they've brought politics into it, it's
Too much.
sad.
Yeah.
Speaking of sad, it's raining.
Great transition, Brian.
It is raining at the Yee Yee Farm during the summer, which we love the rain. It's not
Do we,
that
though?
sad. No,
We're supposed to run the rain. We're supposed to love the rain, but we're too young. We don't have kids. I feel like when you have children, you immediately love rain. It's just like a part of being a dad.
Mhm.
You're required to like rain because
Green.
you all of a sudden care about the growth of grass
The
and
green
trees.
grass.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're like, I'm going to get to mow my lawn next
Yeah.
week. Let's go.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I was on the phone with Paul this morning, who edits the Smiths, and he was telling me last night he was so excited to mow his grass and was doing it really quick, and then he woke up this morning to rain in San Antonio, and he had never been so excited for rain.
Oh, wow.
I guess that's part of being home ownership.
Wow.
He's gonna be a dad soon, so
Wow.
he's really coming into place.
What are you guys' thoughts on stripes in the yard that are mowed?
If you can do it right, then please. Like, it looks awesome. But whenever people try to do it and then it just turns out all
Yeah.
like wobbly, I'm like,
How do they even do that? Is that just a special? Is that just
I
a
think
fancy
it's a-
mower?
I think it's a way, and I really have no idea what I'm talking about, but
there's an attachment.
it's
right?
an attachment that drags the grass one direction, and then you don't use it on the other direction.
Oh.
And so it's like after it's mowed, it's like dragging the grass and pushing it all one direction.
You said grass.
The grass.
Yeah, words are hard.
Yep. Especially 3:00 on a Wednesday afternoon.
Brian has also eaten 2 lunches today, and we were joking about how we were not going to be able to get through this podcast
Yeah.
without falling asleep.
It's almost nap time.
You had a fried chicken sandwich
Yes.
with bacon on it.
And cheese.
Yeah, good luck recovering from that one.
Yep.
Okay, we're on a tangent here.
That's all right.
We'll finish off with the power rankings. Brian, actually, you tried to transition us to that, and
Yes.
then we got sidetracked with lawns.
Speaking of
Speaking of sad,
nice meal and being sad,
Yeah.
and our power rankings today are going to be, what do you got, Ben?
we're going to go with the top movies to watch on a rainy day. So
That's a good
whenever it's rainy, especially when you may be like us and you don't want it to necessarily be rainy and you need a little pick-me-up, maybe something to brighten up your day on such a cloudy, dark day.
Or if you're emo or you just enjoy suffering, then maybe you just kind of want to dive into that depression, maybe watch a scary movie or a very sad movie or a rom-com. I mean,
And it's usually a movie you've seen before,
yeah.
but it's just
Yeah.
the
Maybe
aspect
it's the
of
nostalgia.
Yeah,
a
the
bit
rainy day
that
and
makes it.
you don't really
makes
have
your
anything
day-
else
makes
better
your
to
day
do.
better.
Yeah.
Now I made my word mess up, so all three of us. But Parker, let's hear it from you first.
You know what else is interesting is when you're in like a movie theater and you come out and it's like you forget like what planet you're on.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
just like pouring down rain. It's
Yeah.
always interesting.
Yes.
Or the opposite when it's very, very dark and you come out and it's like in the middle of the day and it's bright and hot.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
You
yeah.
forgot that all that was going on just because you were so lost in the movie.
Are movie theaters gonna die? Do you think?
We talked
Is the
about
future
this like a
generation
little
gonna-
while ago on the podcast.
Did
and
we?
like, yeah, Hayden says he has a theory that they are going to die out. But I personally just love movie theaters. I don't know if
Yeah.
streaming just going to take over.
I think it's gonna be one of those things that's like there's not gonna be nearly as many. It's not gonna be
Yeah.
mainstream, but you'll go every once in a while like as a vintage thing for fun or
Yeah.
something.
Yep.
Maybe it'll go away for a while because like you're seeing more and more of it that like with your streaming services, they're going to like release a movie to theaters and in their streaming app because some people don't want to leave their house right now. But I wonder if that's just going to kill the movie theater thing for a while and then it's going to come back like 20 years from now or something like that.
Yeah, it's sad. I personally loved those Friday evenings going to not only the movie theater but Blockbuster to pick out a
Oh,
movie
yeah.
or two for the weekend.
We almost missed out on Blockbuster. We're
Yeah.
just like, we're right at that age where I remember going, but only barely.
Yeah, that was a weekend trip
Yeah.
for me and my sister.
Okay, power rankings, best movies on a rainy day. I'm gonna start out with a comedy. I'm gonna go with Zoolander.
It's a good one.
I haven't seen
Classic.
that.
You've never seen Zoolander?
No.
Well,
Jitterbug.
it's raining.
I don't know what
so
you're talking about.
Orange
There
mocha
you go.
It is raining.
frappuccinos.
better go home and watch it.
Yeah.
All right. I will stick on the comedy as well. And this one is one of my best friends, Nolan. Shout out to him. This is mine and his like ultimate favorite movie. And that is
Oh, I know it.
Kicking and Screaming.
Oh, I didn't know it. That is a good one, though.
I've never seen that one actually.
Man,
I saw that. That was my 7th birthday party.
no way.
Me and my boys went to see Kicking and Screaming with my mom and dad.
I bet y'all came out of there pretty wild.
Oh, yeah.
Go
Ben?
home and watch it. It's a good one.
So I'm going to go away from the comedy genre for my pick. And this is going to be my nerd pick of the week. It's going to be the Harry Potter movies, any
Mhm.
one of them.
Classic.
Probably more early on, like the first, second, or third, because those are a little happier than it gets later in the series. It gets a little dark, but like, I just love that series, and I've watched it so many times that it could just be background noise for me. I know exactly what's going on. I could pick up in the middle of the movie and watch it whenever, and I don't know. It's just a good rainy day movie.
It's
for
just
me.
always comforting. Just a little Harry Potter on the background. Hayden used to live with Connor, who we all went to high school together, and Connor, we'd always joke that it was always a very Harry Potter weekend at Connor's house because Connor
Really?
would just
I didn't know that
always-
about him.
always have it on.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. You know, when TNT's like, it's a very Harry Potter weekend this
So
weekend.
it's like interesting with like Harry Potter now. It gets passed around from like NBC to like whoever else, and like when it's in NBC they own Sci-Fi and USA, so it might be USA's Harry Potter weekend this weekend, and then next weekend it's the Sci-Fi channel. So literally like almost every weekend now is a Harry Potter weekend, I swear.
Interesting.
But
Yep. All right, number 2, movies to watch on a rainy day weekend. Close your eyes unless you're driving. It's raining. It's thundering. You're just kind of like, I'm bored. You flip it on. Maybe you don't flip on the TV like you did back in the day because everything's streaming now. But I'm just kind of envisioning my childhood. You go to AMC. AMC always has the good stuff on like a Friday or Saturday. I'm thinking turn on AMC, you see something like Independence Day. It's just kind of out of
That's a good
nowhere,
one.
good feel good, Everybody loves a little Will Smith, pick me up. That's
Always.
number 2.
It's a good one.
Yeah, that's a great one.
My number 2, and I'm gonna go with the series, like Ben. That's gonna be Indiana Jones.
Nice.
Aren't there a bunch of those?
There is
There's 4, right?
4 or 6, or I don't know. The newest one,
Was that the Crystal Skull one?
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, that's 4. What's your like favorite out of that series?
I think that one. A lot of people might say the older ones, but
Yeah, I think the first one is just so iconic with the whole beginning scene where he like takes the idol out and he's running away from like the giant boulder. But yeah, I remember the 4th being like really exciting for like 3 hours long, but like it was just exciting the whole time.
That's a solid pick. When I think of Indiana Jones, I think of like I have pizza and it's raining and like some soda and I'm just like watching it while it's thundering outside.
Yeah.
It's just on. It's just homie.
what
Ben?
you got?
I'm going to go with a comedy for my second pick, actually. So this is going back to my roots a bit. So for those of you who maybe this is your first episode or you don't know who I am specifically, I am from Massachusetts, very, very close to Boston. And this has just always been one of my favorite movies. And to kind of pick up where you're talking about some thunder, the movie is Ted. So it's more or less live action Family Guy if you haven't seen it. It is rated R, so if we have some younger viewers, maybe don't show it to them. But yeah, that's just so classic. And there's some inside jokes in there that being from Boston is just that much funnier. Like they call out like the town over from me as being like trashy, and it's like, ha, I get that, but no one else does.
Good one.
But
Big Mark Wahlberg guy.
huge.
He's a Boston guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you were to get in a car from my house where I grew up, drive 5 minutes, you could be where he grew up.
Oh, cool.
Because it was a neighborhood in Boston that my town like bordered.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. Ted with Mark Wahlberg. Underrated. An interesting role that he played in that. He's played the serious roles and he's played roles like that.
Yeah.
He's actually played quite a few comedy roles now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I feel like I know him more for comedies. Like, he did a great job in...
What was the one, like a fighter or something? Or
Oh, yeah, The Fighter.
The Fighter, yeah.
It's
that's
about
the one that I think of.
Mickey Ward. And then I was also thinking of Lone Survivor.
Yeah.
Where they were doing... Was it Operation Desert Storm for that movie?
Oh, yeah. No. That wasn't...
It was...
That was... We should know this because
Yeah.
you're just good friends with Marcus Luttrell.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's who he played in
But
the
yeah,
movie.
it definitely wasn't Desert Storm. But yeah, that was...
It
that
was Red something, I want to say.
Yeah,
Their
that was more
mission that
recently.
they were
Oh,
on.
gosh.
Yeah, I can't remember the
We were
name
going
of
to
the
get
mission.
slaughtered in the comments for that one. I'm
Sorry,
sorry,
guys.
guys.
It's hard to think of stuff like that on the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, man, Lone Survivor was such a good movie and a great book. If you've never...
Yeah.
I'm not
I've read
huge
it.
into the like war books. I just never have been that into them, but I remember reading Lone Survivor, and that was incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, my last and third pick for rainy day movies is I'm going to go with my boy Christian Bale, The Dark Knight.
Nice.
Always on either TNT or AMC.
It's a good one.
That's the end of my story.
I, for my third pick, am going to go with Forrest Gump. It's just a great rainy afternoon movie, and it's usually on TV. And
you watch 45 minutes of it and fall asleep.
yep, you've already seen it plenty of times.
Yeah.
Fun fact, the scene of him sitting on the bench that's like throughout the movie was filmed in Savannah, Georgia at a little park, and I was working a job that just so happened to be right next to that little park, and so I sat on the bench.
Did you know it at the time?
I did, yes. So it was cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Can you do your best Forrest Gump impression?
I cannot. What's your third pick?
So my third pick, and this is again just kind of like maybe a nostalgia thing for me. It's a bit of a, it's not exactly what you'd call a pick-me-up movie, but there's just some comfort I get in watching it, and that is Friday Night Lights.
That's a good one.
Yes, that's such a good pick.
So
Man, I dreamed about high school football last night.
It's coming back.
Sad.
It's always the best when
It's almost football season.
someone makes a personality out of how good they were at high school football. It's like, oh yeah, there's nothing else to you.
Did you ever watch the TV show?
I watched like a couple seasons, but it's just not the same to me. Like I compare it to the movie, and then I'm like, this just isn't the same for me. There's nothing like some Mike Winchell and James Booby Miles just killing it out there.
The show did have such good actors though too.
Yeah,
they did a good job.
No, they
it.
had great like cast and everything.
Taylor Kitsch.
Yep.
As Riggins. Fun fact: in Austin, Texas, you can drive around and see the cast from the TV show Friday Night Lights. You can see their different houses, their actual houses in Austin.
I didn't know that.
Tim Riggins' house in Austin, the owner has a number 33 in the window.
Nice.
For Riggins still.
That's cool.
That's
which
awesome.
is really cool. And you could go past right by the Austin airport on your right. It's like overgrown and like it's abandoned, but you can see the Panther field house that they used as like their locker room.
I didn't know it was filmed in this area.
Yeah, so they filmed it at Pflugerville High School, which is the
wow.
Which is just south of
for
us.
Permian.
Yeah. Well, no, that's Dillon Panthers in the show.
Oh,
so yeah, you're thinking of the movie.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Permian.
But either way, they're the Panthers.
Odessa Permian was
the
movie. The show was Dillon Panthers. Yeah,
that's cool. I think we had some good picks this week. I don't know who won.
Do you have any honorable mentions there, Brian?
Yeah, let's see. We had The Patriot.
Nice.
Classic AMC movie.
Rocky. Any of the Rocky movies. Saving Private Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the Future.
Wow.
Granger's favorite movie of all time.
Really?
Yeah. That and Top Gun.
So, yeah.
I got Castaway and Tommy Boy.
I went with A Million Ways to Die in the West, which have either of you seen that?
No, never.
It is literally Ted, but filmed in like the frontier. So Seth MacFarlane, who's like the creator of like Family Guy and all that.
I have seen this movie.
He's like the main character, and instead of being the voice of a teddy bear, he's just himself. But it's literally like the same characters as Ted and like the same concept, but it's just like Wild West kind of thing. So yeah, if you haven't, it's a pretty goofy movie, but it's worth it. And then any Dukes of Hazzard, just always entertaining.
Smoking the Bandit, another good one.
Well, there you have it. That's your power rankings, and that will do it for this week's episode. The podcast. Thank you all for listening. Should we say it?
Don't say it. Let's just leave it for next week.
Rice or
Okay. See you guys next week.